What is up, my guys and gals? It's your boy SJ Raikou. In today's video, as promised in my poll, I'm going to replay the Xenoverse 2 boss fight featuring Ultra Instinct Goku, while also explaining every OC I made in the game. Before we begin, there's a minor cringe warning, as all of the lore for these characters are very outdated, with the exception of Esmeralda. So, without further ado, let's begin on the characters and their lore, and afterwards, we'll get into the goods like the finale. So, this is my oldest running OC ever. He has been around since late elementary school, specifically during 4th grade. He is as old as dirt, but I still love him very much, even if his lore is outdated. Unfortunately for me, this was an old self-insert, so be prepared for some really cringe stuff from a very young SSJ Raikou. After the destruction of their home planet, two Saiyan parents, Turles and Ginger, arrive on Earth. They eventually have a child, and as he grows, his power and potential grow higher. The parents train this child from birth, and he learns to master his power. However, the child sadly loses his father to disease, and so it's only him and his mother. During his childhood, he trained intensely and achieved Kaioken at age 10, while also meeting Austin at the Tenkaichi Budokai when he was 9. Ruko's family history was deeply fractured, as his father had abused his mother and manipulated her into abandoning his sister Lyriac, which is why Ruko did not meet her until later. After Ginger's death, Ruko sought guidance from Goku, who became his long-term master from ages 11 to 21, shaping much of his growth. Around this time, Bardock also briefly trained him from ages 12 to 13, forming a strong father-son bond that would later influence Ruko deeply. At age 11, Ruko finally met his sister Lyriac, when she and her companion, Nafe, a Cyberman ally who learned how to talk and became her best friend, attacked Earth, leading to a battle involving Ruko, Austin, and Ginger. During their fight, Ginger was killed by Lyriac, triggering Ruko's rage and a brief pseudo-Super Saiyan transformation before Lyriac retreated. Afterward, Ruko was taken in by Gohan and Videl, while Lyriac returned under Killja, her adoptive stepfather, who punished her for her failure. A year later, Lyriac returned seeking forgiveness and warned of Kilja's arrival, leading to intense training and a final confrontation where Kilja killed Lyriac, causing Ruko to achieve Super Saiyan at age 13. Though Kilja survived and later returned stronger, Ruko, Austin, and a revived Lyriac ultimately defeated him through fusion, creating a fusion by the name of Lucrian, marking a major turning point in their strength and unity. Years later, Ruko entered another Tenkaichi Budokai, where he encountered Vomi and her unstable alter ego, leading to his involvement in a massive crisis caused by Android 21. Ruko joined forces with allies and former enemies to fight waves of clones and resurrected villains, eventually reviving Bardock after learning about him from Frieza. Bardock trained alongside Ruko and the others, strengthening their forces before the final battle against Android 21 in the world of the Kais. During the battle, Bardock sacrificed himself to save Ruko, triggering Ruko's Super Saiyan 2 transformation at age 19. But the fight escalated further as sacrifices mounted. In the end, Ruko sacrificed himself to defeat Android 21, was later revived, and began a relationship with Vomi, whom he married at age 21. After Ruko's marriage, Kilja returned with a powerful golden form and easily overwhelmed Ruko and his allies. In desperation, Ruko transformed into a golden great ape using an artificial moon, initially losing control before regaining himself through Vomi's emotional connection. This allowed him to achieve Super Saiyan 4 at age 21, finally defeating Kilja and establishing a rivalry rather than outright hostility. Kilja accepted an alliance and the group entered a period of relative stability while continuing to grow stronger. At age 23, Ruko visited the afterlife, reuniting with his mother and eventually meeting his father, Turles, in Hell, where they reconciled and formed a true father-son bond. After returning to the living world, Ruko celebrated the birth of his son, Chini, with friends and family, marking a joyful milestone. However, the celebration was interrupted by Deborah, who manipulated Ruko's fear of failing his family and turned him into a Majin, similar to Majin Vegeta from the canon Dragon Ball. Under this influence, Ruko became brutal and nearly unstoppable until Lyriac defeated him and reminded him of his past, breaking the control of Ruko, then confronted Deborah alone, and, with the spiritual aid of his parents, achieved Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker, defeating him and ending the conflict. Following Deborah's defeat, a period of peace allowed Ruko and Vomi to raise Chini while continuing their training, with Ruko becoming one of the most respected Saiyans. Over time, Lyriac achieved Super Saiyan God, Austin had his potential unlocked further, and the group sought new challenges across the universe. They traveled to different worlds, battling powerful opponents like Broly, the fighters of Universe 6, Jiren of Universe 11. Each battle tested them individually, with Ruko consistently proving himself as the strongest among them by defeating opponents like Hit, Kefla, and Jiren. That is the end of the story. So, yeah, that's his lore along with some of the other characters. And jeez, did I not cringe at this. Although Android 21 was a good choice in my opinion, so my 4th grade self still had some semblance of taste despite being a bit cringy and very young. Unfortunately, the skin presets aren't in order, so forgive me for having such a messy list for my character, but here are all of his presets and what arc they're from. So, Austin Truff is a character I made based on my real-life best friend. You guys know him as Anime Kid. So, yeah. There's not much lore to explain since this lore is heavily tied to Ruka's, but what I will say is that during the Killja saga, Austin unlocked his potential Unleash transformation, then in the next saga, unlocked the Mystic transformation. Then, during the time they traveled to different universes to fight different fighters, he also unlocked the Beast transformation. This character is inspired by my real-life sister. She was made during my middle school years, shockingly enough. DBZ Lucy, also known as Lyriac, her Saiyan name, is canonically on par with her brother. Anyway, no special lore for her. We have already gone over the lore of pretty much every character with the exception of a few. Ruko's mother, Ginger, is inspired by my real-life mother. Made shortly after Lyriac, nothing else to say. Killja is a character my dad made on his own, and I just decided to include him in on the lore. Okay, so here's a character with some lore I actually made shortly after I graduated middle school and got into high school. As you can tell, she is a Majin, and her story is essentially this. Despite being a Majin, she was considered nerdy and weak by her peers, who easily bested her. Because of her weakness, Supreme Kai of Time decided to give her a laser gun to help her keep up in combat. Over time, Esmeralda deliberately trained and lost her weak status while maintaining her nerdiness and finally learned how to properly manipulate ki. As she got more and more powerful, she changed outfits to fit her love for fashion now that she's got the money for it from Time Patrol. As time went on, she started unlocking more and more of her Majin potential, eventually becoming comparable to Kid Buu, hence why I gave her the Beast transformation, which, by the way, matches her eyes, so it simply looks like an aura that represents her Majin power. Okay, so this character has an interesting story. I actually never made this character, it was instead my uncle of the same name who made him. The reason why I chose to replicate my uncle's CAC is that he himself can no longer play Xenoverse 2. Why? Well, due to personal reasons with my family, I cannot reveal anything in great detail, and all I can tell you is that he was in an accident. Don't worry, he's not dead, but he is in a state where he cannot take care of himself. Because of this, his PlayStation 4, along with his copy of Xenoverse 2, just sits there, collecting dust. I can't tell you why I have no possession over his stuff. All I can tell you is that this is really personal stuff, and I don't plan on revealing any of this in great detail. Anyway, I created this character in memory of him and figured that if his CAC was going to waste and rot at my grandparents' place, I'd recreate his CAC from scratch. Now he has a full moveset, items, and everything in his presets. To add to this, I gave him a preset of my own that I think he would have liked, where I gave him the Beast transformation, Special Beam Cannon Beast version, Ultimate Charge Earth-splitting Gallic Gun, Training Temple Gi, the I Don't Want Them to Get Hurt Super Soul, and a level 6 QQ Bang. This preset is busted to the max, and seeing his other presets, I figured the best way to give homage to him was by giving him the most busted preset out of every character, making him the strongest CAC I've ever made. Now that we're finished with the CAC talk, let's get into the Ultra Instinct Goku fight. You see, 3 years ago, on December 11th, my father and I made a video on Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, where I fought the hardest boss in all of Xenoverse 2, Ultra Instinct Goku. However, the idea for this being my 100 subscribers special finale came from an old comment that is no longer available, where Anime Kid had commented about wanting to see the full cut of the fight. Now that I'm here, we can finally see what I, having surpassed my past self quite a while ago, could do against Ultra Instinct Goku in this legendary boss fight, from start to finish. Now, without further ado, let's end this 3-part episode with some dirty fireworks. Woo!
I've actually been wanting to take you on. You and me. No holds barred. You're looking forward to it too, huh? All right, here goes. You're the real I've made... I'm gonna... Whoa! What's going on with your energy? It's through the roof! So you're gonna keep getting stronger, huh? Then I guess I better too. Come at me! Yet.
No, Goku!
You okay? There's something wrong with you. You're losing power. Yet. This isn't all you've got, is it? Or are you holding back? I wouldn't do that if I were you. If you want to stop me, you better give it your all.
At a time like this. Oh, that Goku, he never ceases to amaze me. If you two are quite finished, Yu's going to get away! So rush it!
Wow, you're really something. Come on. Keep this going. I feel we can take this to the next level. You just gotta push yourself to the limit.